So the man I was going to meet was Burt Goldman, that remarkable 83-year-old Renaissance man who is a well-known painter, artist, internet entrepreneur, writer, personal development leader, and seems to be mastering skill after skill after skill despite the fact that he's over 80 years old. I drove 2 hours north of San Diego to meet Burt at his home in Rancho Mirage. It was one of the most beautiful drives I'd ever been on. Hey Burt, good to see you. Wow, the artwork over here is amazing.
Well, you may as well get it all. Come on in here.
My God, you're prolific at coming up with this stuff.
You're looking at maybe a quarter of it.
Wow. This is very, very, very cool. One of the things that most impressed me about Burt's home is the amount of artwork hanging on the walls. Literally every blank space of wall was covered in art. I'd known Burt as a personal development leader, but never as such a prolific artist. And this is where all the magic happens. This is where you produce your stuff.
This is where I'm surrounded
you
by...
teach people.
By computers.
And that's your art studio. Very cool. So if you've heard of Burt Goldman, you've heard of his quantum jumping technique. And Burt's idea that one can pick up any skill, plus ideas and inspiration, by going into deep levels of mind and connecting with other sources of intelligence. Now, one of Burt's most remarkable feats in quantum jumping occurred while teaching a class in San Diego. He told his students about the idea and challenged them to suggest a skill that he would pick up over the weekend and bring back to them in the next class, which was about 5 days later. One of them raised their hands and said, "How about photography?" Burt said, okay, and that day he went home, did his quantum jumping exercise, and asked to develop the skills of a photographer. Burt had two messages come into his head. The first was the phrase, "plant yourself." The second was the phrase, "take lots of pictures." Armed with this knowledge, he headed to the beach the very next day in San Diego. As Burt was heading towards the beach, he found himself slipping on some rocks that led down to the beach. Instinctively, he planted his feet on the ground to prevent himself from falling further. And then it occurred to him, that first message, "plant yourself." So Burt thought about the second message, "take lots of photos," and using his feet firmly planted on the ground and his body as a pivot, he moved his body around and took multiple photographs. That night, he developed his photos, went back to his hotel room, scattered them across his bed, and immediately he noticed something really interesting. These pictures could fit together like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. And when he cut these pictures up and pasted them on a canvas, they turned into a beautiful piece of art. This was the start of Burt's style of photography. And to date, he's been in at least one International Photography Hall of Fame. And this is the famous original picture.
This is the first one.
And this was when those words, "plant yourself" and "take lots of photos" came to you in
that's it.
That quantum
Plant
jump.
yourself. This is where I planted myself. This is San Diego.
Beautiful. Cool. And then you can see what that evolved into when you look at these pictures. So this is that style of photography that you developed, where you take multiple pictures and you put them together. Wow. It's got this really cool 3D effect to it. What would something like this cost? Because this is beautiful.
Well, I had it in the gallery and had it up for $12,000 and then decided, no, I don't want to sell it. So I told my children, because I've got like 100 paintings, I said, you know, one day, a long time from now, these are going to be worth enough to put your grandchildren through 10 colleges. So just hang on to them for a while.
So none of these are for sale?
None of these are
like
for
if
sale.
I gave you $12,000 for that right now, you wouldn't sell it?
I wouldn't sell it.
$20,000?
If I didn't know you, no.
$20,000?
Well, you know, you reach a point where you say, well, come on.
No, but this is pretty cool. So you've
it's not worth $20,000
right.
Yet.
Right. No,
maybe
but
one day.
You've got 100 paintings in here. And I mean, if the average price is around 10 grand each, that's $1 million worth of paintings in this house.
Well,
that's why I'm not giving this address to any one of the blog readers.
Art.
So Bert, so in quantum jumping, you mentioned a piece of art called At the Museum. This is it, right?
Yes.
That's
The idea is you're supposed to be standing here and as though you're in a museum looking at all the different works.
right. And this is super, super creative. This is very, very, very cool. So like you get these ideas through quantum jumping and the stuff that
Most
you
of my ideas I do get through quantum jumping.
Yeah. No, what's cool is, I mean, like imagine if this was applied at business or at, at other stuff that requires instant creativity. Wow. Imagine the money that could be made
So
there.
Burt mastered photography, painting, and he's also gone on to become a prolific writer and internet entrepreneur. His websites and blogs are among the most popular personal development websites and blogs on the net. He's also now starting to learn singing and music, and he's working on his latest iPhone app. And of course, he's doing all of this at the age of 83. What's he going to pick up next? Ballroom dancing, martial arts, cage fighting? Who knows? But Burt's ability to evolve himself and pick up different skills and talents seemingly with ease is serving as an inspiration to millions of people, particularly people who are past 50 and are looking for new ways to bring joy and talent and skill and ideas into their life. Burt is really teaching people that no matter how old you are or what restrictions you might have, you can be anyone you want to be by simply tapping into unused portions of your mind.